are so glad you were here. For those of you who have been to any of our countless podcasts at Netroots, this is sort of a supercharged version of that.
Today, Liz and I will be having an incredible conversation with members of AAF's programs team and comms team about the unique advocacy opportunities offered by Abortion Access Front, followed by a fun training that focuses on 3 specific actions.
I don't know if you all know this or not. You probably know us a lot from social media, but the big crux of what we do is we work directly with independent abortion providers who do the lion's share of abortions in America. And we're going to be sharing some of the information that they share with us that the public might not know, the toll that these laws and that these garbage humans take on the providers that do the work and the patients who are experiencing the violence in front of the clinics when they go.
And because we work directly with providers, AAF has been able to create programs based on their request to help uplift and sustain them in this important work. And today, we're just inviting you to be a part of that.
That's right. So throughout the training, you're going to be able to ask questions in real time. So we've got some AAF folks here who've got a mic. So when we get to the training portion and you're like, I'm starting this, I have no idea what you're talking about, just flag it right here and somebody will come to you. And also for the people at home, too. So if you're at home and you're watching, we have monitors in the chat, and those questions will get to Moji and I, too.
Yeah. So, Liz, the kind of advocacy that AAF does started after you discovered a massive hole in the abortion movement. Will you tell folks how you discovered it and how that led you to creating Abortion Access Front?
Yeah, so this was kind of an accident for me, actually. I've always been an activist and a political person. This is my 19th Netroots, just to give you an idea.
Woo! Woo!
But I was writing my memoir back in 2010, and it was when Wendy Davis was on the floor of the Texas State House filibustering. And I don't know if y'all remember, but that wasn't on the news. That was on Twitter and streaming. And so people were tweeting about it as it was happening. And I started tweeting about it, and then it started trending, and then finally the news caught up to it. But I had had an abortion. I've had several abortions, and was one of those people who was privileged and kind of like, I got mine, I'm moving on. And then when I watched that, I was like, this can't just be happening in Texas. And I did some research and I found out that 25 other states had these really horrible laws. So when I finished my book, I took my 2 dogs and I rented a van, and I had to get back to New York. I was in Minnesota. So I drove across country, and I did probably over like 100 clinic visits and shows to raise money for abortion providers. And I would go visit the clinics, and the recurring message that I got was, I can't believe you're here. No one ever comes here. People don't visit us. People don't know that we exist, and we're often out here alone. So I got back to New York, and I gathered a bunch of activist friends and comedian friends and writer friends, and I said, clinics need to be looked on. If we want to preserve this, we need to take care of the people doing this work. And so that's kind of how it all started. And now, here we are. And the people who have taken the helm from me and my wild idea are with us. So let's introduce them without further ado. Please say hello to our programs director here in the green jacket, Ms. Kristen Haiti.
Hello, hello. And also, I'm happy to introduce our programs manager, Sherelle Dingle.
And in a few minutes, we'll be joined by our AAF head writer, and we call them Dukes. It is Alyssa L. Dukey, who's going to talk about direct action. So give Alyssa advance.
Kristen and Sherelle. Kristen and Sherelle, welcome. Let's get into it. Yeah. Sherelle, you've been on the ground working with providers for 10 years. What have you been hearing from the clinics you work with about how these terrible laws are affecting the morale and the burnout for the staff?
Ooh, so much. 10 years is a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I've been hearing is a lack of community support. They don't feel, they're supported by their community. They see just a lot of negativity around. They don't feel that support and love. And then obviously lack of funding. The funding is scarce and few, and that leads to not enough staff, right? The funding not to staff these clinics and have that support. And then also not being able to get basic services, just simply like painting and fixing a fence or fixing the door or anywhere from fixing a window, just because, again, they have to focus on providing abortions or focus on their actual patients. So just little minute things like that.
And I think a lot of times they can't get those services too because people will have their businesses protested.
Yeah.
If they are the landscaper in front of a clinic, if they are the plumber in front of a clinic, and so they have no way to get just basic, I need my roof fixed.
Yep.
And if a roofer shows up, they're screwed. So we were like, hey, let's find some roofers and help.
Yeah. We had a situation like that where we had to, make sure a clinic was looking for a new air conditioning unit. And we had to make sure whoever would replace that, those persons were vetted and safe to come in the actual clinic, and they were pro-abortion and things like that, because again, you get some random and they come in the clinic and it's not safe.
And I think too, Kristen, I want to talk to you a little bit about the escalation, but I also want to talk a little bit about the profound and repeated assault on abortion care means that the anti-abortion movement is defining who they are and what they do. And that really adds to the isolation. They don't feel safe to come out and correct the record. And they'd love to invite people into their clinics to say, come have a tour, see what we do. But like trying to be able to do that safely is really hard.
Yes. Every abortion provider we know is incredibly proud of the work that they do and the patients they serve, as they should be, because they're doing incredible work. But all of these barriers exist on top of everything that's still happening. The worry of a national abortion ban, their care being criminalized. There are providers that genuinely don't feel like they can talk about it anywhere, not just because of societal stigma, but because you might be arrested if you go to another state. They are worried about walking off of the plane in a state that they don't feel safe and not making it back home. And that really is, it's a paralyzing fear.
Yes.
Yeah, so with this administration, it's gotten like 5 bazillion times worse, but this escalation of violence at clinics has been happening forever. It happened when we had Roe, it happened when we had Roe, when Roe was like at its like most accessible. But now that the January 6th people are basically the same people that are outside those clinics, Kristen, talk a little bit about what the violence looks like outside of the clinic and how it's escalated.
Nearly every abortion patient that walks into a clinic is going to have to walk a gauntlet of anti-abortion protesters. These people might have amplification, megaphones, giant signs. They will yell at them, approach their cars, harass them to the best of their ability. And that's just normal, everyday violence that patients have to deal with. But we are looking again at clinic invasions and blockades, where we really saw the legs cut off of that movement in the early 90s, but we are seeing anti-abortion protesters go inside abortion clinics and harass patients. The goal is always to shut things down for the day. They will sit outside and they will block access to clinics, which not only stops anyone from going in, but it also stops anyone from leaving. And that's not even the vandalism and the damage. Just this week, literally this week, we have stories of a clinic invasion and someone going through and smashing out windows in another clinic. This is what happens every day. So I'm from Ohio, and I will say, a few years ago, there was a clinic invasion. It's something called Red Rose Rescue, and multiple people went inside this clinic and occupied it until the staff realized and police were called. And there was a moment where one of the anti-abortion protesters, he stood up, and they were in regular garb, they don't want to be identified. He opened his bag and he pulled out a rope. And so the rope itself was just for his outfit. He was a priest of some sort. But the provider that talked to me about that, can you imagine that feeling of these people come in, there's always been violence and murder and harassment in this movement, and they stand up and pull out a rope. It's terrifying. And it got so bad that we saw face charges, which is the freedom, I always get this acronym wrong, freedom to access clinic entrances, 23 people were charged. Don't worry.
And indicted. They weren't just charged. They were indicted. They were convicted. They were tried by a jury of their peers.
Yes, and
some of them were serving sentences.
Yep, and some of these charges took 4 years to get, if you can imagine. From the invasion, 4 years later, Trump pardoned them all. And so that sends the message both to providers that we don't care about you or your safety, but it sends that to the protesters too, and basically says, do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And a provider that we work with a lot, I'll never forget talking to her. And she invited us to her house for lunch and had big, beautiful windows in her home. And I said, you know, it's astounding. You have these beautiful windows and I know you're under attack and you don't have any curtains on your windows. And she said to me, matter-of-factly, it's because if they try to kill me, I want to make sure they get me and not my kids. So that's the kind of day-to-day life that these folks are living in.
And come on, doesn't this sound overwhelming and really demoralizing? AAF is trying to meet the needs to support staff and patients. And Sherelle, can you tell folks what kind of help providers have asked for?
Anything that we could see their humanity, bring relaxation, things that we often take for granted or we do on our own day-to-day, you know, self-care and think about ourselves. They don't really think about that. Also, we say don't take your work home. They take it home every day, all the time, on the weekend. Even when we're not thinking about it on holidays, they're thinking about their patients and the clinic. So, you know, anything. And then also providers deserve more than survival, right? Survival mode, more than just I'm fighting every day, day to day, just to survive.
Yeah, we all deserve to thrive, not just survive. So we're going to show you some of the stuff that we've done. And when you work with us, we can help you recreate in your community. Let's start with you, Kristen.
There are things, one of the things that AAF has done, because really clinics need a million different things, a million different ways of support. But as Sherelle mentioned earlier, sometimes they literally can't find people to do the work. So AAF has gone to a clinic and put landscaping in. They dug everything old out. They bought it. They brought it in, like muscling this shit around, as you can see behind us.
But I wanted to say too, with that example here, the thing that's cool about it is that we really need to beautify our property, but there was a secondary goal here, and that is, this is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And in Tuscaloosa, or was it Huntsville? Somebody want to correct me on that? Huntsville? Okay, Huntsville. So Huntsville passed a law that the clinic couldn't erect a fence to block out the protesters. And so the protesters were just sidewalk to lawn. But what they didn't have a law about was planting really tall bushes. So we waited for the protesters to leave, and it was like 9 million degrees, but we planted these massively tall bushes, so when those assholes had to come back the next day, their shit was blocked. It was really, it was like a really great workaround. We felt really good about that.
Yeah.
Sneaky, sneaky. We love sneaky.
Sherelle, can you talk about another example of some really great work we've done?
Yeah, so one clinic, actually I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, in Baltimore, well, PG County adjacent. They, the providers went to like a doctor's conference of some sort, and they were like, yeah, we experienced this wellness with puppies, and it's made to de-stress the staff. So that's what we did. We brought puppies to the staff and had a puppy party. We had a puppy party. It went well. We brought like bagels and coffee and everything, but the puppies like cuddled with the staff and they were loving on them. And it was just a moment of, again, de-stress, just to get away their mind from what they are focusing on now.
Animals have no judgment. They are literally just the best as far as like the cuddling. Yeah. And I just want to say too that sometimes things seem so small, but they mean so much. And I think that's part of our advocacy, where whatever your abilities are, whatever your capacities are, whatever your, you know, maybe you don't have a lot of money. You know, we want to make sure that we are engaging with people. And this final thing that's up on the board here is, this is in Hartford, Connecticut. There was a, it was like an old-timey series of small buildings that was like an office park it was like cobblestone, and there was an actual abortion provider, and within 2 arms lengths away, right before you got to the actual clinic, was one of the fake clinics, which we'll talk about in a little while. And they were like, we are so hosed because they are just before we get to them. The real clinic, I think, is called like Harvard's Women's Center, and the fake clinic was called like Hartford Center for Women. You know, just like the whole thing was a mess. And they're like, can you help us figure out a way that our patients aren't fooled because those people are right before us? So what we did was we painted a yellow brick road to the actual clinic. And so when the patients would call, they would go, okay, when you come in, just follow the yellow brick road. So whatever bullshit was happening, they could do that, right? But it's like, that's the kind of gumption and ideas that like regular folks like can help do. And it makes a world of difference for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
That might be one of my favorites.
It is absolutely one of my favorites.
It is.
So simple.
It's so impactful.
Yes.
It's really good. And Sherelle, you play a wonderful role in the life of patients because you are a full spectrum doula, and a lot of people might not know that in the scope of full spectrum doulaing, there are abortion doulas. And abortion doula is a training program that many of you can do in your communities, but would you talk a little bit about what an abortion doula provides for a patient and what you've learned from the patients?
Yeah, so we provide non-judgmental support, practical support, emotional support, or physical support. And that could look like a plethora of things, but it could be before, during, or after, or all 3, the abortion. And what I have learned through my doula journey so far is kindness goes a long way. Kindness, just being that consistent support, consistent face, and showing up for someone, really showing up, right, consistently, and being that pillar of the community that folks are looking for in a time that may be stressful, that may not be, but that they're going through something and you can be that person for them. It goes a long way. And sometimes we are the first moment of compassion that they come in contact with throughout the whole abortion process for them. So, you know, just knowing that you can play that role and you can do that for them, I think that means the most to me in my work so far.
Great.
And it's really important to provide this emotional support for patients because there's a lot of emotional tolls that come with traveling and gathering resources and all of the things you need to do to access abortion if it's not available in your state or if it's just not in your city. Kristen, can you talk a little bit about these sort of tolls?
Yeah, so in addition to the wonderful work I do with AAF, I'm also on the board of my local abortion fund, the Aggie Fund. Woo! And one of the really difficult things is what patients have to go through to get there. So abortion itself is often out of reach monetarily for patients, and that's why abortion funds exist. But because of the incredible demand, we have 14 states who now do not have legal abortion access, and those patients all have to go somewhere. The providers are seeing increased demand near there, and patients are going and they're finding that abortion funds don't have the money that they did before. So maybe it's not, I get funding from one abortion fund, I now have to contact this one, that's part of my money, and then this one, that's the other part. And when you have minimal resources to begin with, the stress of having to ask so many people for help, I mean, to be honest, it's bullshit. And nobody
strangers.
has to do
You
that.
have to ask
Yeah.
strangers for help and explain your situation over and over again. And I think that is an unspoken thing that happens so much. And so I think, Sherelle, I wanted you to weigh in a little bit here on that too, where to talk about like, where sometimes I think folks who want to help when it comes to helping people travel for their care, and they think, I'd love to have somebody stay in my home.
Yeah.
It sounds good on its face,
Yeah.
but talk a little bit about why providing autonomy for an abortion patient is really the goal that we should be trying to work
Yeah,
for.
absolutely, because it puts a unspoken pressure of, okay, you want me in your home, but now I have to talk to you. I might have to have dinner with you if you extend, and I don't want to be mean or perceived as mean, and you didn't open up your home to me, and now this, and now we family, and I guess, I don't know, I just had I just had all these things happen, and I don't know. So it's just that unspoken pressure, that unspoken feeling like, okay, I already don't have control over the funding, or I already don't have control over how I'm trying to navigate things because I need support and I need help. I also don't want to, again, come off or be perceived as mean, even though I know your intentions are well. I know your intentions are to be supportive or whatever the case may be, but that's not necessarily the impact.
Yep.
And, you know, just knowing when to still step up, but also step back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Or
that.
support people in ways that preserve their dignity.
Yes.
And that's really, you know, sometimes offering someone your home doesn't allow them the space to have the dignity they need during their
Right.
during a trying time. And these are the horrifying
Nice
y'all.
shirt.
Hey, you.
Dukes!
Woo!
Some love for Dukes. Y'all.
Woo! Woo! The one bossing you around to sit at the front tables.
So I can look you in the eyes.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about in our overview before we get to the workshoppy part, Dukes, is how much fun we have doing direct action. Because you know what? We love disrupting bullshit. So can you talk about some of our tactics in how we do it and when we show up?
Yeah, so a big part of what we do, and you may have noticed this from us, is arresting visuals. We really like to be big and in your face because a lot of times our discussions of abortion are kind of private, of course, or behind closed doors. So big, giant signs is a big part of the work we do. And you can see up here, we've got the magazine covers that we used in front of the Supreme Court. And that did a number of things. That was able to give information about who on the Supreme Court is fighting against abortion, but also blocked out the protesters on the other side.
Yeah, because they always show up with these massive fetus signs. I'm sure you've seen them. They're huge.
They're gross.
And for decades, our side would show up with like, pro-choice. And they have massive fetus signs. It's like, what are we even doing? So why not, if you know what they're bringing to the battle, bring the weapons that can, bring the bigger ones.
Yeah.
That's right. And the other thing I do love about these that we use often with the Supreme Court is, you know, if you read anything about any of these justices, they're obsessed with their legacies. And we were like, how do we shit on them? And so we thought magazine signs to take each of them and show how the public views them.
Yeah.
Which is nice because then when it's in the New York Times, they have to see it and they have to read it. So that makes it really nice when the media picks it up. Yeah. Moji, you want to jump in? And
Sure.
Or Dukes, do you want to jump in and talk a little bit about, I don't know if you've seen through the course of Netroots, both Dukes and Moji have been walking around in our Disneyfied abortion pill costumes, disarming, glittery fascinators, oftentimes gloves. Dukes, I'll start with you. Talk about showing up and why showing up, educating folks about medication abortion in a sparkly inflatable costume has been wildly successful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, first of all, y'all loved it, and that was great. But also, you know, when we show up in these giant inflatable costumes, sometimes oftentimes, it's the first time people are seeing an abortion pill ever. And so we get to own that conversation then. We're gorgeous, we're friendly, we're sweet. You wanna hug us, you wanna take a picture with us. And you know, what's interesting about this weekend is we got more pictures of men with the pill than we had men visit the table.
Oh.
What? That's
Everybody
an
likes to take a
observation.
Everybody
I
likes
don't
to
even
sex
know what the
pill.
psychology of that is.
They didn't want to stop by the table, but when you see somebody in costume, they're like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. And also, because you guys had a handout that explained what it was, it's not just dancing around being like, hi, 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 I'm the Ariel of abortion. Or is that a Disney thing? I feel like it is. You have a piece of information for them to learn and dispel the myths.
And we just get to reframe the abortion pill as something that is there for you.
So talk about the couple of places that we've shown up, because we not only have the first regimen, there's 5 pills in medication abortion. There's the first pill, which is called mifepristone, and then you take 4 pills called misoprostol. And we have the full complement in giant inflatable costumes. So often we'll show up with all of them, but you see us here. Talk a little bit about where you were in each of these pictures and the effect that you had.
Yeah, so in that picture where we all have our cute little feet out, where I'm the pill, we went to the DNC. And you may be wondering, why would you go to the DNC to call people out about abortion? It's because, well, we as progressives need to be talking more about abortion, and we need to hold the people who are letting the anti-abortion folks get away with this accountable.
Yeah, that's right. They have been too passive and not pro-abortion at all. It has been narrowly dealing with their shit. And also, let me tell you what, people are just dumb about abortion pills. And like, I don't care how progressive you are, people still will say to both of you, I know, are you Plan B?
All the time.
All the time.
Also a really fun thing that is helpful, people will come up and say, what are you, right? There's are you Plan B, but there's what are you? And one of the great things about being in an enormous inflatable costume is that you can tell them, oh, I'm the abortion pill, I'm one of 4, all of the details that they need to know. The second picture is actually me as the pill at the New York City Halloween parade. And boy, was that fun. We had stickers, Abortion AF stickers that were available at our table, the whole Netroots, and we were handing them out as treats. Trick or treat, here's a treat, here's a little abortion sticker, a little information about how abortion pills work. And it also allows people, when they're just chilling, to be like, oh, I've now learned so much more about abortion pills than I had ever known before.
Yeah, and it's a volunteer opportunity, because we're about to transition, which is nice, to actually getting into the workshop part. But as a volunteer opportunity, we're always looking for people to be a pill with us if you are in a city we are in. But like those posters, you're able to download, and it's really fun to join us at SCOTUS. And we have SCOTUS robes and to hold those signs and to be there. So it's like really fun to be in community and educating people as well, and then be able to have the tools to be able to download them for yourself, print them up for yourself, and do it. So Dukes and Kristen, if you want to weigh in quickly, we're going to wrap up in 2 minutes and get to the workshop. Talk a little bit just about, like, with all this work, what is it that is fun, and why these are meaningful opportunities for activists and volunteers?
It is fun because people have such an incredible reception to you. They're excited to see you. And at the crux of everything we do, direct action, whatever it is, there should always be education. And that is why these actions are so perfect. A giant inflatable pill starts conversations. A lot of people realized the miso pills were not soup. And so many people walked away knowing what the actual protocol to a medication abortion is. And in places, we are in Louisiana, where there are places that aren't allowed to actually say that. It's so incredibly important to make sure that people have the information that they need to make their own choices.
Yeah. And also, you know, this can get really heavy, this work, and there is plenty of work to be done that, you know, we already talked about clinic defense and clinic support, and it gets really scary, but we also have to let people know that this is normal, you can have fun, and you can have joy in this process as well.
So much joy.
That's right. And to that end, with the joy, you can look this fall for the release of Miffy and the Misotones music video. Yeah, we have taken the song I'm Just a Bill and done it to I'm Just a Pill. And we're shooting a Josie and the Pussycats type video where they are going to be the pop band that you are going to want to love and know and have at every event. And so that's really fun.
Delightfully absurd.
Yeah.
Thanks for this preview. We've got to move on to our
I know we have to
workshop.
move on, so we're going to wrap up. We're going to bring Dukes back later to talk about an actual direct action that we're going to walk you through. But let's get to the workshop and get moving on because that's what we're here for, quite frankly, right?
Sherelle, come back.
Sherelle, come on back.
Applause happened. In part one, we talked about some of our programmatic work, and some of it was big and showy, and we really love doing that work. But we also have programs you can do in your pajamas while binging The Pit, right?
Are you binging The Pit? Do you love the
Are you not watching The Pit? Are we the only ones watching The Pit?
Yes. Yeah, it's too good. All right,
So
sorry.
we're going to kick off this workshop with one of those programmatic actions, and then we call it Expose Fake Clinics.
Yep, so we've created an entire website called exposefakeclinics.com, and it helps us and it helps you learn all about what fake clinics are. Most people do know, but in case you don't, for the people streaming at home and everybody who's not a big activist, they are an incredibly important tool. And in fact, a lot of researchers in the abortion movement say that they are right now one of the most important tools with which to funnel disinformation. example of this of a fake clinic that's in Lafayette, Louisiana, right here. It's called Acadiana, and I always am singing Acadiana. I don't know why, but I can't stop singing it. And so we'll walk through it. So let's just pull. This is the main page. Sherelle, that nice lady.
Yeah.
Looks like she's going to a place.
Beyonce?
Yeah.
See, the thing is, when I saw this, I was like, she might be Creole, and Beyonce is Creole, so it might be some correlation there. But look, you see, she's happy, right? Drawing you in, like, oh, she looks happy. She looks like she goes to Acadiana.
Yeah, Acadiana.
Acadiana, so if I go there, I might be happy too. And then, look, they give you ultrasounds.
Yeah.
And pregnancy
resources.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
But Sherelle, if you go to the page, there's just a lot of sneaky red flags that you should look to see if it's a legit clinic or just some more of this bullshit. So will you walk us through some of the flags?
Yeah, so you can see number one, that's circled. We're gonna go through each one. Trained professionals, and I'm putting that in quotation marks, right? What are they trained at?
They don't say medical professional, they say trained professionals. They could be
train me.
estheticians,
Right.
right? They could be dog trainers. I don't know.
Right.
What are they trained at?
What are they
that
trained
one.
at?
Honestly.
And that's
they're-
what I said, the tricky of the words too, because again, it doesn't say. Let's move on to tell you what to bring all these type of forms of ID. Now, if you go for your annual, do you need to bring your school ID?
Your social security
Your
card?
government assistance ID? Social security? Exactly. My PCP always say, this is your information, is it correct? Has anything changed? I confirm it myself, but they present it to me. Then number three, free medical clinic, right? That ties into like the services they offer.
But like all
Come
of those
on.
services, you can get a pregnancy test at
CVS.
dollar store.
Yeah, dollar.
That has the same efficacy rate.
Yeah.
Don't just go get the dollar store pregnancy.
The ultrasounds,
Right.
by the way, did you know that anybody can run an ultrasound machine? You have a little training and you can just put somebody in a fake cosplay clinic and they can just do an ultrasound on you?
Yep.
That's legal?
And as an unlicensed plate, you're not liable for whatever you say is on the ultrasound.
That's right.
Right.
Because they don't provide real care. If they provided actual care, they would have to provide actual services. But the fact that they don't provide any of it means they can just lie, dress up
Yeah.
like doctors, and be garbage.
And then options counseling, whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever
What do you
options they
counsel?
want you to have. What are the options?
Free diapers?
Oh,
Oh.
I
But you
don't
have
know.
to take you have to take a class for them.
Right.
You don't just get them for free.
Yeah.
You have to sit through their parenting
Exactly.
class.
Okay, so, all right, so, they lay it all out. Look, pregnancy options. Kristen, clearly, under the pregnancy options, we'll be able to get abortion referrals at least, right? So let's go there. Oh, look.
That's so sweet of you to think that.
Yeah.
They are always going to lead with these scary side effects of abortion, which again, as you saw in the video, they aren't fucking true. It's not, they're gonna tell you you are gonna have increased risk for breast cancer, depression, or you're gonna have kids later in life and you're not gonna want them. You're just gonna deny them. They want to scare you. They will
Every
lie.
risk under surgical abortion is something I've experienced while I fell after drinking. Scarring, infection, extreme bleeding,
Incomplete abortion.
injury to the cervical and uterine region.
When you go there, they want you to be scared, and that's all that it is. They are only presenting the most negative parts of abortion care. And so then you have to scroll forever to get to any part that actually says they do not provide abortions.
Yep.
And so this is the most teeny tiny font, like it's Willy Wonka, and you need to get the magnifying glass out. We provide our services without discrimination to people of any age, race, income, nationality, religious affiliation, disability, or other arbitrary circumstances. But because we are pro-woman and a nonprofit, we do not provide or refer for abortion services. The hell does that mean?
Yeah. And that small font.
Also pro-woman and a nonprofit. Like
Like what?
I believe that we're a pro-woman
I feel like we're
Yeah.
that can't
most
stop
days.
slapping our yaps about
Yeah.
abortion.
Yeah, if we could provide abortions, we'd do it in a heartbeat.
There's also nonprofit abortion providers. Right. So,
Yep.
fuck you.
Also, if what they were selling was something people wanted to buy, they wouldn't have to lie about it. Let's be honest.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, so let's talk about doing reviews. So now this is the point where Kristen's going to walk us through the Exposed Fake Clinic's website and show you how to do the reviews, and then you're going to get on that website and you're going to write some yourself. And we have people in this room and people watching it together. In a very short amount of time, we can get 500 reviews written, which is incredible if we just each write 2. So,
Yeah.
Kristen, why don't you let's take it away and get to the main page of Exposed Fake Clinic. So get out your computers, get out your phones. We're going to walk through what the pages look like.
All right, so obviously, step 1, as we talked about, get your laptops, get your phones, and then go to exposedfakeclinics.com. Super
We'll
simple.
give you a little Jeopardy song for a second.
We did not plan this. I'm really proud of this.
Oh!
I knew one of us was going to keep going.
All right. Everybody up? We're good? Everybody at home? We're good? Okay, great.
All right, so step 2 is you want to click on the link to see the list. So we have the fake clinics portioned out by states. So go through, click that link, and go find your state.
Is that a little different on the phone and a laptop to get there? Or are we good? It's all the same? Sometimes I don't know.
Will you
but
tell us? How's everybody doing up?
We're all there?
Good.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right, so step 3, again, we find your state. Because these fake clinics are in every single person's community, and you can always do the most amount of good by finding the ones in your own.
In your own.
Yes, so pick where you are, and then we'll go on to step 4. And
Everybody good? What
No.
no, JK. Oh, we have someone coming, and they'll come right over and help you find it.
No, yeah. Because I think it's different on the laptop than it was, and I think it's different on the laptop than it is on the phone.
Well,
Kara, can you tell us, get the microphone and tell people? Thanks. Who's still a little confused and needs to find? Hands up. We're good? Okay, we're gonna get on the mic and then we'll be able to explain it to you where it is. Kara, could you explain on the mic how people find it on the phone? Thank you.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
yes.
So if you're on your phone, you're going to see in the upper right-hand corner
There's a little hamburger.
the hamburger. It's 3 lines. All right, and then it's going to say fake clinic locations. You're going to click on that.
Yep.
And
Did
then
you find it? Okay, good. Yeah, I forgot about that part. Sorry.
And
guys.
then there's a link and it says to see fake clinics listed by state, click right here.
All right. So is everybody seeing what's up on the screen?
Thanks, Kara.
Excellent. Thank you, Kara. Great.
Perfect.
Okay, Kristen.
So now, these are all of the fake clinics that are listed in your state. Pick one. Just find one that strikes your fancy. There's going to be entirely too many.
Yeah.
So just pick one and go ahead and click on it. And then in step 5, you'll see the information come up.
So let's slow down a little bit and make sure
Yep.
everybody's getting there. Does everybody see a thing that looks similar to this when they've clicked? Okay, great.
Perfect. So it's going to have the name, the address, and what you want to do is you want to scroll down and find the link for the Google business page. Now, because a lot of these are user submitted, it may not have a link listed. So if it doesn't, you can pick a different fake clinic, or honestly, you could just Google the clinic and it will come up and you'll be able to find that section there. So
All
give me a
right.
second.
So let's do a.
We have a question. We have 2 questions.
2 questions. Yes.
Oh, you got Yelp.
Okay.
Yep, you can do Yelp also if you
Yeah.
have a Yelp
Also,
account.
so
Yes.
If it's Yelp, click Yelp. If it's Google, click Google.
Yep.
Yeah, you're good. Everybody good? Okay, excellent.
All right, so next, step 6, and we actually have it separated out on here. So if you are in the Google reviews, so on your phone, you can click the review tab and you scroll to post, and then you click post. If you're on your computer, you're gonna scroll to write a review and then click that button. Let us know if everybody's good. Raise your hands, another question.
So, is everybody there? So we're gonna just take a pause for a hot second and talk a little bit about what we should say in these reviews, because this is really important, right?
Yeah. So there are some important do's and don'ts when it comes to writing reviews. And Sherelle, do you want to walk us through some of them?
Yeah, so some do's, I would say, you don't have to pretend. Because if you pretend or make balloon reviews, more than likely they will remove them. They will say, oh, this person is sounding whatever, and they'll remove it. So you want to get straight to the point and write factual statements with no judgment whatsoever.
Yeah,
Get straight to the point.
Couple of examples here, just like if you're looking for abortion services, they don't provide them here.
Right.
And that's really good enough. If someone's looking for an abortion, they're like, okay, moving on.
Yeah.
And then there's another don't that we just want to also make sure, Kristen, and that is don't react with your emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of.
Yes. Listen, we're on stage a bunch of snarky assholes, and we love to make snarky reviews, but those are what is going to get get removed. So this is why you focus on this place does not provide abortion services. If you need to find an abortion clinic, go here. This place is not regulated by HIPAA,
Right.
which is true.
Which is true, right.
Please don't give your information. Those things, they're not wrong. So anything can get removed, but it's far more likely to stay up if you stay factual, and they can't point to it and say, well, this person clearly wasn't a patient. Please take their review down.
Exactly.
And Sherelle, can you also tell people why it's maybe a good idea to interact with the website or even call the clinic before writing a review?
Well, again, going back to the actual review, right? So if you call them and they say, oh, no, we don't provide abortion, you can literally just say that. And then that's your experience, your true actual experience, and you write that as a review, say, I called them, they said they don't provide abortions, don't go here, whatever. And then the same thing, sometimes if you're interacting with the website, you know, you're looking through the About Us and all of those things, they will connect that back to your account sometimes, and your review will remain up because they say, oh, you interacted with the website. You were on there with whatever account you use, so we won't remove this review.
Yeah, it's really important. And as we, I don't know if I want to do this yet. Yeah. So, okay, so maybe we get to writing.
Yeah, I think it's time. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now click on write a review, like you saw. Is everybody back? Is everybody still there at the write a review part?
Oh,
great.
perfect.
So
Okay.
take the tips, write in your own voice. We would love for everybody to write 2 reviews.
Yes.
In the next couple of minutes. Kind of like just give us a wave when you're done, so we know that we can move on. And if you have any questions, Kara is here, who you just saw, and she can walk over and help you through it. And if you're watching and streaming at home, we will also answer some questions for you here if we get them. So awesome, let's get to reviewing. Write those reviews.
Woohoo!
We need new hold music. I feel like
we do.
Jeopardy's good for starting. We need more.
Well, I mean, we could sing the weenie song, Kristen.
Really?
So,
All right, hold on.
you need a sip of water.
So
All
as
right.
writing reviews.
Here's your-
Let me give a little background on the song.
Please.
This is the song that Kristen introduced to us when we were in Chicago at the DNC. She was talking about this old-timey song that her family learned, and I am now obsessed with it. So
And often makes me sing it in places that are really embarrassing.
yeah. So Kristen, I think you want to start with a weenie song?
All right. I know a weenie man. He owns a weenie stand. He sells most everything from hot dogs to buns, 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 buns. Someday I'll join his life. I'll be his weenie wife. Hot dog, I love that weenie man. And you'll find my resignation letter on Monday.
It was literally funny because I was like, how can we vamp a little bit? I was like, any song we would sing, we would get yanked off YouTube for copyright infringement. I was nearly positive that song has no copyright infringement, but I could be wrong.
Well, now that we're done singing, Sherelle, can you talk about how the beauty of this is that we can just...
Wait, I don't know. Are we done with reviews before we move on?
Yeah, how's everybody doing?
How's everybody doing? Did we get 2 in?
2?
2 in?
Ooh.
Everybody here 2 in?
Oh, wow.
You guys are nailing it. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, y'all can keep going while we're doing it too.
As I was saying, the beauty of this is folks can do these reviews anytime.
Yes, yes, you can. If you go to exposedfakeclinics.com, anytime you could do these while you're binge watching The Pit or any other show, you're hanging out with your friends, family, or you're just bored. You're like, I want to doom scroll or do something while I'm relaxing. I go to Exposed Fake Clinics, go through the steps, do these reviews. Super easy to start your activism in some way.
And so important for folks searching for abortion care. They see your reviews, it's great. And once you're doing reviews, having them move to the top is super important.
Yes.
And Kristen, will you talk about upvoting and what that means and why it's important to, maybe if you really don't have any brain capacity to write a review, that if you just do some upvoting, it's important.
Look, sometimes your brain just doesn't want to brain, right? But you still want to be able to help your doom scrolling. Go through and find the reviews that are honest about fake clinics and like them. Because what that's going to do is that's going to bump them up. So if someone who is actually looking for their abortion and ends up on finding a fake clinic and maybe wants to go and look at a review, if they only find one review, they only read the one at the top, the more we upvote the honest reviews, that's what they're going to see, and we might actually be able to stop someone from being shamed and accidentally going to a fake clinic when they're just trying to find an abortion clinic.
Yeah.
And you don't have to memorize everything if you forget any of these steps. We have a toolkit that was emailed to you, and there's also one on the website you can access if you've forgotten any of the things you need to do to casually and comfortably expose fake clinics.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, too, that now that you kind of know the drill and that this exists and this is a piece of activism that you can kind of do on the fly when you want, you can also do the reverse. If you've had an abortion and it didn't occur to you and you had a good experience and it didn't occur to you to write and thank them or write a review for them, writing a nice review for the place that gave you services is also really helpful for them in the same ways possible that people see that. So,
absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about a little bit about direct action. Are you ready for that? Okay, great. So Sherelle, we're going to say goodbye to Sherelle, but we're going to bring Sherelle back again. So Sherelle, thank you so much.
See you soon.
And we're bringing Dukes back out to talk about direct action.
The action we're going to walk you through today is called Paging Dr. Lawmaker. In it, you go directly to a politician's office and expose their cruelty and incompetence in a clever and bold way. So Dukes is back to talk us through it.
Yeah, so we spend every day reading the news, just Googling abortion and hoping for the best.
How's that going?
Womp, womp.
And a pattern we started to see and that really pissed us off was lawmakers continuing to make laws about our bodies as if they had any medical experience whatsoever. And so all of these things that are being done against us are so political and not medical when this is like such a medical thing. So we wanted to confront them about them playing doctor. And so
So that's what we do.
Yeah.
so that's what we do.
Yeah.
How about you just tell everyone what the action looks like when we do it?
Yeah, so basically you take 4 people, one dressed as a nurse in a lab coat or scrubs with a clipboard, one person dressed as a patient.
Don't get there yet. Just tell a little bit about like what we do.
Okay, great. Basically go in there pretending like we are in a medical emergency, bring the medical emergency to their front door and say, what are you going to do about it?
Since they pretend to be doctors, we thought, why not ask them advice? Since it's dangerous to go, doctors won't provide care. And I think that it feels like, Dukes, when we do this, we decided to do two kinds of politicians. Obviously the ones who are the authors of the laws and that are writing the laws, but also the politicians who just sit there and do nothing and are complicit and passive in it. And talk about why both of those people are important to blab with.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one thing to present to these lawmakers that this is a person who you have actively done something to harm, but then to bring someone to them and say, this is someone that we are letting you know, we know you don't give a fuck about them. And you have done nothing to help this person now. This is the situation that you have created with your inaction.
So we've talked it up, but let's take a look at a Paging Dr. Lawmaker action we did. And this was challenging Schumer after he voted for the Medicaid cuts. So you can see what it looks like, and then afterwards we'll go step by step how to prepare to do your own version. There is sound. It'll come eventually.
There it is.
Start. It's not open the door for Republicans to have massive Medicaid cuts. And we have a pregnant patient here, and since he wants to play doctor, we're going to talk about it. So can you pay attention?
I can certainly pass your concern along.
Are you the L&D nurse?
I can certainly pass your concern along.
Okay, because she is 37 weeks pregnant. Okay, she has gestational hypertension, BP of 155 over 90, okay? And she's also got a developmental discord insertion at risk of rupture. And if we have these $880 billion cuts to Medicaid, she's not going to be able to get the care she needs. She's going to be afraid to go to a hospital because she's afraid of, going bankrupt for having a baby. And so we just need Dr. Schumer to come out and let us know because he decided to vote yes in this continuing resolution.
Well, I can certainly pass on your concerns,
Okay.
and if you wanted to leave any contact information.
Well, I mean, he should know. He's in the medical system, so I'm the nurse that's helping this patient. So we just want to make sure that he knows what's going on. I just feel like if Cory Booker can stand up for 25 hours, he could probably stand up for pregnant women in America. The next time, not so fold so easily and give everything like a blank check to Republicans. That would be absolutely great if he could do that. Okay.
Certainly pass it on.
All right. Thank you.
Take care,
All
guys.
right, so we're headed out. And just so you know, this is the story of so many pregnant women in America, including black women like me. This is the story of my son with gestational hypertension, and I'm going to be honest with you, with 40% of pregnant women in America being covered by Medicaid, I'm concerned that he had no plan when he gave Trump that blank check, and now we're not going to have any kind of coverage for these women. And there's going to be a lot more people coming in with complaints like this, and I hope he's prepared for his decision. We'll see y'all on the start of steps in a minute. Hope I don't bleed out in the parking lot.
The sound,
the
was,
sound
a
was
little
a little
off on
off.
that, but you get the idea. You walk in with a scenario and confront the person at the desk.
And I'm unfortunate that you couldn't hear it as well as you could right now. I think it still exists on our social. Maybe you could go and look at it.
It's also in the toolkit.
But it takes real planning to make it happen. And I would love it if, Kristen, you talk us through how we even start this.
Yeah, so at the base of it, you really want to make sure you have the people and the time commitment. So to do the action, you're going to need at least 4 folks. We'll get into their roles in a little bit. But one, make sure they're reliable. They are actually people who show up, who are going to follow through, and then have backups because life happens. Someone can't make it, they get called into work, who knows? So it's good to have people that can step in a pinch. And then, the time commitment isn't huge. 3 meetings is really what you can get away with for this, each with a specific focus, and they can be in Zoom, but it is always more fun to do these things in person.
Okay, so let's talk about when you say specific people. Like let's go through, Dukes, sort of the specific kind of people who are going to be with you in this journey. So let's kick it off.
Yeah, so in the video you saw Elizabeth Booker as the nurse, and she was in charge, right? So this person has to understand the task, have all the information. You also saw she had the clipboard. So this person is going to come in with the facts about what that lawmaker has done to undermine abortion access, and they're also going to have the story of the patient. What was great about Elizabeth was she used the story of her own pregnancy, and she felt really passionate about that, and she went in knowing exactly what she was going to do and how she was going to deliver that.
And I would say, too, the great thing about the clipboard is when you dress up like doctor people, you have all these props so you can have your script right on the clipboard. And that's why so if it looks like, how did she know how to say all that shit? She happens to have her story, but Alyssa also did it in another person's office, and she kept referring to her clipboard like she was doing her job, which is just like, you passed this law, you did this law, so the clipboard is super key.
Yeah.
And then the next person you're going to have is the patient. So this person is going to be in the hospital gown. They're going to have a visible sort of pregnancy bump. And so they're important because this is who the nurse is talking about, but it's more of a complementary role. If you've ever been pregnant, I have 3 times, it's not fun. So you're not looking like you're having a good time, but you are doing that breathing, you're in pain, but you're not pulling focus or attention away from the conversation happening between the nurse and whomever they're talking with.
We also need the stuff holder.
The most important role in any action.
Yes.
Who's carrying our shit? Always have someone to carry things around. You're gonna have to change into your outfits, so you might have extra things. So that person is going to carry the things, but they're also going to be who is speaking with, because no elected person wants you to come annoy the hell out of them in their office. So that person is going to be who is intercepting security, the police officer, whomever shows up. So they are talking to them. They are doing that while the nurse and the patient can focus on finishing the action. So they're really pulling that attention.
And that role is fun because that role, as you're talking to the security of the people who come, it's a very fun skill to not quite hear what security is saying, not really understand. Could you repeat that? I'm not really understanding. Prolonging the action for as long as possible. Very kind, but it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just dropped my stuff. And so always just allowing that security guard to have to repeat themselves so that they can still continue the action.
It's my favorite role.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, we can't be in here. Could you tell me when we can be?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me write that down. Just
Ask
give me
a
a second.
million questions.
And of course, Alyssa, this is a person you did not see on that action, and that is the live streamer, the reason that you saw the action.
Yeah, so live streaming this, you got to see one angle of it. You may have seen 2 people filming. So we got to have one that we for sure had on our phones, but then also we live streamed it straight to our social media, and we also collaborated with Under the Desk News so that it was pushed out into the universe even more. So we had double the reach. And live streaming this is key because you know, we were talking about the patient, like why we're doing this is because it creates urgency, and if everybody's watching, whatever happens, you have witnesses and everyone can see what is happening and who you're confronting and when and why.
And if you have an extra person, if you can get that 5th person, it's good to have a 2nd person who's just filming it. The live stream is like you're in the offices and you're getting people's attention and they can see it in real time. But if your live stream gets screwed up or something else happens, you have a secondary camera person, you can post it later. So that is a really key thing for that.
Yeah. So having someone who is comfortable with the camera, knows their angles, can get all the action in there. You'll notice we had the guy at the desk, we had Elizabeth, we had the patient. Getting all those people in the shot is key, and also having someone who people are paying attention to on the internet is something really useful.
We also need a researcher because we need to know why we're there before we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding out who your legislators are, where they are located, and also doing a little recon. You know, we did things like go on Yelp and look at pictures of the offices to see where the desk would be so we could plan where we would stand with the camera. We also found out where the bathroom was and walked around the building and then made sure we were ready to go in when it was time.
And the toolkit's really great because we divide, when we say 3 meetings are good, it's sort of dividing it up into 3 different, like one is doing all the research and everybody's doing the research together and talking to your research point person. So you can really, it feels like a manageable action once you've done all 3 of these meetings. You really are ready to go in and do it for sure.
So you have your team lined up, you have your 3 planning meetings, and details about what you should achieve in each meeting are in the toolkit. But Alyssa, Kristen, could you also give us some crucial things folks should be aware of when planning this action? Why don't you start for me, Kristen?
I always make sure that every person involved in this action feels comfortable and knows what the desired outcome is. We do not go into these things intending to get arrested or detained, but there is always that small possibility. So make sure everyone there understands the risks and are all on the same page, okay, it's time to go now. And that they're all invested in the time commitment. You know, it's not huge, but it is important that everybody puts that effort in.
And PsyOps is all about making a time commitment and long-term strategies, learning a thing you can do over and over again. Otherwise, what's the point? You gotta be in it to win it, right? So people have to make an investment.
Yeah, and spending that time doing the research to double down on what you said before, or the rehearsals rather. Making sure that everybody knows what they're going to say, where they're going to stand, and so that once you go in there, because it happens really fast. I mean,
so fast.
You know, we thought it was going to feel like forever, and it took like a minute and a half, but it was really as effective as it could be. So go in there ready.
Yep, for sure. And it's really good training for all of it. So the rehearsals are key, making sure everybody's spice level and comfort level is all the same. And you both have done it in the House, the Senate, and state legislature. So just briefly talk a little bit about like what you felt going in, how you assuaged your fears, and just like anything that folks might feel like, oh God, I don't know if I could do that. Like let them know a little bit about like those feelings and how they really can.
Yeah, so I am not a wonderfully funny comic actor of any sort like some of these folks. I was really nervous. And so what I would always say is expect the unexpected, but don't let it throw you off. Something is going to go wrong. Maybe that person isn't in the office and it's closed and you have to pivot. Maybe someone forgot something. Don't let it fluster you. Don't let it add to that nervousness. And then really, I operate by a fake it till you make it. I go in there, I snap on, and then it's literally done in 2 minutes, and you are hella jazzed. You're like, this was great. So just understand something is gonna go wrong, something won't happen the right way. It doesn't have to derail it. You just pivot and you keep going.
Yeah, I think one of the unexpected things for me that came up, and the thing that you should also expect, is that actually they aren't very aggressive towards you. They just kind of sit there. I don't know if you've ever called your legislator, you should. But if you have, that's also less nerve-wracking than you feel like it's going to be. And I think this felt like the same level of, oh, I'm going into this, and I'm nervous because I'm not supposed to be doing this. But you're supposed to be there, they're supposed to be listening to you, and that's what they're gonna do.
That's right, and that makes it feel really great. But before we move on, does anybody have any questions about this? Yes. Can we have a mic?
Mike's on the way.
Coming.
Mike's on the way.
Hi, my name's Kate. Oh, I like that. Okay. Kate, she, her pronouns. I live in Iowa. Joni Ernst is one of my senators, and Chuck Grassley, thank you. Their offices are in a federal courthouse, so we can't bring cameras. They don't let us bring cameras. So are there any, like, what other places have you attempted to do this action?
That's a great question. So if you didn't hear at home, Joni Ernst is her senator, just taking a moment for you. And that you can't get into, which I feel like that seems illegal.
Yeah.
That you can't have access to your senator, but they don't have access to Joni Ernst. I would say do it at rallies. Like if there's time for questions, plan the question and answer. You know, don't be dressed at the time. Maybe wear a coat over the thing and then take it off and be like, I have a patient here. What do you think we should do? I think you could do it there. Anytime they're doing a rally anywhere, like be disruptive where they are, because they do all those. It is on their websites when they have to make public appearances. Check the websites for public appearances.
And most legislators will also have their either federal offices or state offices, and then they'll have local, smaller
regional
offices in different places. So those are always another great option because they're not normally in federal courthouses.
Yeah.
So that's another great point.
That's exactly right. And also all of this is our toolkits are really good. All of this is in the toolkit. And if you want to plan one of these and you have any, I don't get this or I need help, Kristen and Sherelle and our programs team are there to they'll get on a Zoom with you. They'll help you plan it. And also, if you really get it going and you want help, like you can collab with Abortion Access Front and we can help you amplify it as well, just like we were amplifying with other folks. So, you know, that's the whole thing, is to get it out there. So, yeah, so it's a really fun one. But now we're going to transition to our last and final and most personal activity we do, which is post-abortion care packages. So, Dukes, we're saying goodbye, so long, auf Wiedersehen, adieu, 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 to yukes and yukes and yukes.
We're feeling cool today.
So our final training will be around creating and distributing post-abortion care packages. And these are packages that are given to patients after they receive their abortion care.
That's right. And so I think that I just lost my place, I'm not gonna lie, just for a hot second. What are we on?
I'll go on. So creating these bags are a key part of our work because they're a way to acknowledge and uplift patients at a time that maybe they just don't feel great, you know? They may not feel their strongest. And it's also a way to give them practical items that should hopefully support them in their recovery.
Yeah.
So folks, Sherelle, tell folks about the value of these bags for patients.
It's always the thought that counts. I know that sounds.
No, look at the bags.
No, not yet. Calm down.
They look enticing, I know.
We're going to tell you all about the bags.
We did it that way on purpose.
Excited about the bags. Do not go in the bags.
It's the thought that counts. I know it sounds cheesy, but it really is. It's the thought that counts, you know, mutual aid and community matters. And then for some traveling patients, some things they don't even think about bringing with them if they're traveling. They're just thinking about bringing themselves. They look in the bag and they're like, oh my goodness, I wasn't thinking about this. Thank you.
Well, and it makes it more likely that patients can leave their appointment with things that they need or maybe couldn't have afforded. Or if they are traveling, you know, maybe you don't have time to pick something up at the store, or you just don't think about it. And really, at the end of the day, who doesn't love receiving a gift and something to make you feel better? And it's really rewarding to do something tangible and just support people.
Yes.
Sherelle, so if someone wanted to start an post-abortion care package program in their state, how do they start?
Well, step one, just look for programs already in progress. Your abortion fund, a nonprofit, you can collab with us, but a doula collective, anything, they might already be doing this. It might be named something different, but it might be similar. And then find your clinic, right? A clinic you can build relationship with, you can have that relationship in your community and be a part of that.
And we can help connect with clinics. It's not always a great idea to just cold call a clinic, especially they'll have like patient lines or appointment lines. Like, is this an emergency? No, I'd like to make you packages. So we have relationships with providers across the country, and it's something we do often. So we are more than happy to help that connection if there isn't a program already started.
Yep.
That's right. And there's a lot of items that go in these bags. And they can get costly. And that's why we really, really encourage, it's really great to get together with friends or community and do this so that you can share the cost and then people can brainstorm about local businesses or local places that might want to help contribute to the pair packages. So if you want to do some pair packages, have a good time with that. And doing outreach for the supply. So Kristen, let's talk a little bit about going into the kind of things that go into these bags. So we have, let's go to the next slide. So we have the essentials. Moj.
Tylenol pads, Plan B, some essential things like this. You see some Motrin. We also make sure we include plenty of items that could be a little bit of a treat that could lift someone's spirit.
Why is it important, Sherelle, to have things that are, let's call them for lack of a better thing, indulgences?
Well, you know, everyone likes a little treat here and there, but also, again, it's things you don't think about. A bath bomb, a face mask, candy. It's just those little things that really get to it. And it's like, you know what, I did not think about this. Some slippers, some socks, hot heating pads. I love a good heating pad, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just those little things. It goes a long way, again.
Well, we also love to include a note to every patient.
Yeah.
And it's, we never assume an experience for an abortion seeker. It is not always a traumatic event. There are people that are happy, that are upset, are just ambivalent. Like, we're not going to assume how someone feels, but there's never a wrong time to offer a note of encouragement and support to people. And that's really where you get to kind of put a little bit of your heart into it, is by slipping these notes into the bags and knowing that the person that gets this, just gets a little pick-me-up.
Yeah.
Yep, and I feel too that, oh, go ahead, Sherelle.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say it brings your own impactful touch, right? So you write a little encouraging message, you put it in the bag, and that's your own, right? That you can own and say, you know what, this is going to someone, maybe to uplift their spirits, maybe to keep their spirits uplifted, or whatever the situation is. But that's your own thing.
And I think going back to, Sherelle, what both you and Kristen were saying about when you have taken this time to have to scrape together finances to have an abortion and gone to such great lengths to be able to, maybe you did sacrifice being able to have a bath bomb or some chocolates or something, to be able to, at the end of that experience, walk out with a bag full of things that are not just Tylenol and helpful things, but things that say, you deserve to have some chocolates, and you deserve to have a face mask, and you deserve to soak in a bath because somebody was thinking about your full humanity, I think is really huge. So we are going to, a question on the chat. Anti-abortion groups, fake pregnancy centers, sorry. You know what? We're a little bit late on that for that. So Larry, we'll answer it offline. Larry, we're answering it offline for you. So for those, we're gonna now get to assembling the bags. It's gonna be different for those who are watching at home versus those who are in the room. So.
For those, you also, everyone who is in the room will see they have a note card on the table in front of them, and we just invite you all to take a moment.
Wait, do you wanna just, hold on. Yeah, okay.
We want to invite you all to take a moment to write a message on the card that you would want to hear if you were having an abortion.
That's right. And I want you to take that note and write that note. And then what you're going to do with that note is that you're going to pass it to the person next to you.
To your right.
Or whichever. But pass it to the person next to you, or if you don't have somebody next to you, maybe there. And I want the person next to you to take it, put it in your wallet, and read it when you get home tonight right before you go to bed, so that you will have this beautiful note of encouragement that's going to put you to sleep.
And so the notes on the table, for those of you in person, are like business card size.
Yeah.
And they have a graphic on the top, but on the back they're blank.
That's where the note is.
If you are looking for your card on the table.
That's exactly right. For those of you at home, you're going to start assembling your care packages, and you're going to write a note, and you're going to put that note in your bag.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough bags for everyone here, or maybe we do at this point, but that's okay. If you do decide to take a bag, we have an assignment for you.
That's right. So, couple things to do with this bag. One, if you're feeling like you had a really fucking rough week, keep that bag for yourself and take it and treat yourself. Two, if you encountered somebody throughout the conference this week who you felt like just really could use an uplift, maybe the work they're doing has just been extra hard, find them at the end of the conference and give them the bag and tell them you're thinking of them.
Yeah.
If that's too hard and too much because a lot of people have left, when you go back to your hotel room today, with the tip for your person who is cleaning a room, leave the bag and leave them a note to say, I see you and thank you for doing this work for me and for making my stay great.
Yes.
So since we can't deliver these to clinics here in Louisiana, we can take these bags and also I want to reiterate, if you need that bag, you take that bag.
Yes.
We all do really hard work. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Have we done a thing?
That's a training.
I feel like we did a thing.
That was a training.
Amazing.
All right. We are finishing. The post-abortion care packages are being assembled at home. Some fake clinics have been exposed, and now you all have the tools to get cracking on putting an anti-abortion lawmaker on blast.
That's right. And you know, Thank you for everybody who helped make this happen. Sherelle, Kristen, Dukes, for your brilliance and heart. How about a hand? And to Remy and Jen are the producers of this podcast, and to the FBK team, to Kat Green for managing our video and graphics needs, and Kara McLean and the whole AAF comms team for bringing all of you to us.
And a ginormous thanks to Netroots Nation for giving us the space.
Yes.
We really love being a part of this community, and of course, thanks to all of you here for coming by, watching, and listening.
Thank you. We hope you feel like you've got some new skills that seem manageable and things that will just help you as we sit and wonder, what are we going to do, and hoping that the next election's going to be different. In the meantime, there's people in our lives who we can help, and it helps us to help them. So, you know, I hope you really want to join us and you really feel like you got some meaning and purpose, and that Abortion Access Front could be a place where you get more of that stuff. And remember, we said a lot of shit. We said a lot of shit. And there are really amazing toolkits for all this stuff. So if you're just hearing about it, you can go to OperationSaveAbortion.com, download the toolkits, and then gather your friends and walk them through any of these events at any point with the help of these wonderful people at any step of the way. So make sure that you do that.
Feminist Buzzkills and Operation Save Abortion are projects of Abortion Access Front. And to find out more about us and the work that we do at Abortion Access Front, go to aafront.org. You can also follow us on all the socials at Abortion Front, and like and subscribe to the Feminist Buzzkills pod wherever you happen to pod.
That's right. And we're also a nonprofit. We need your cash, I'm not going to lie.
And pro-women, imagine.
Crazy. So if you want to support our work, you can go to aafront.org and hit the donate button.
Thanks again to Netroots. Thanks again to Netroots Nation for hosting us and being our home in this progressive space for 10 whole years. We love you.
That's right. So now, go forth. Make beautiful and big trouble in this shit bath of a world. Until next time, we will see you out in the streets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Streaming at home. You guys are the best. Thanks, everybody.